Brian Hobson, TeeJet Tech Tips. Today, we're going to talk about the Eagle kit. So when you power up the Radeon with the Matrix 908, you always have to turn the power on to the Radeon first, and then hit the power button, which is back here on the back for the Matrix 908. Over here is on the side for the Radeon. But always power the Radeon up first, push that power button, wait 5 to 10 seconds, then the Matrix 908 power button. That way, through that power up cycle, they have to make a handshake, and that's the best way to make that happen. So we're going to continue on over here on the 908. We're going to hit what's called the hamburger menu, vehicle device manager. Device, we've already done our tractor, our chassis, or whatever we're driving. We're going to add new. This is a TeeJet can device when plugged with a Radeon. So we're going to hit TeeJet can. We're a sprayer. Enter a name. This is a 1200, so we'll just put the number of the model number on here, 1200. Hit save. It is a fixed mount. So boom and section layout. Aft centered, so they're all the way on the back. Front centered, a front mount boom, or aft off centered, off the rear and just spraying off of one side. We are aft centered. Inline distance from hitch to connection product delivery point. So we're a fixed mount. We're this picture down here that we set up earlier for our vehicle. So we want to know how far it is from the rear tires, or from the hitch connection point, which we said earlier was 3 feet from the boom, or from the rear axle to the boom. So since we've already said that, we're going to leave it at 0 because we've already put that measurement in here. Number of sections, in our case, we have 3. Identical dimensions or different dimensions. So we have 4 nozzles on the left, 3 in the center, and 4 on the right. So we're different dimensions. They are not symmetric. They're not all the same width. They're different dimensions, so we're asymmetric. Section 1 width. So let me grab a calculator here. Actually, I can do that in my head. We're going to clear all this, clear this. We have a total of 4 nozzles at 20-inch spacing, so we are 80 inches. Save. Section 2, we've got a total of 3 nozzles at 20 inches. Clear. So that's 60 inches. Save. And section 3 width. We're back to 4 nozzles at 20-inch spacing, so we're back to 80 inches. Save. So now we have total application width of 18 foot 4 inches, and we've got all 3 of our sections set up. And then we'll hit save. Would you like to make this device active? Yes. So what's happening here seems like a real long wait, and you may think, well, something's wrong, it's hung up. It's not. Just give it time, because what this device is doing is having to go build a model in the task controller that allows it to do the automatic section control and allows it to mount properly and all that. So just be patient while it's going through that. And then we're going to hit this button down here to go back to our hamburger menu. So from your hamburger menu here, the other thing you can set is your guidance setting. So guidance width right now is 60 foot, and we were on 18 foot 4 inches, I think. I'll grab a calculator real quick, make sure that we get that right. So we've got a total of 11 nozzles times 20 inches divided by 12 is 18 foot 0.333, so that's 18 foot 4 inches. Save. Close. Minimum turn radius is how sharp your sprayer can turn. If you turn it as sharp as you can turn it, minimum turn radius, max operating speed, all that. That's all we need to set up in guidance settings. And then in your mapping location, so your default location is center of the vehicle. If you want to map, say, with your left tire, you can go in here and add a new one and say left. So our left inline direction from pivot point forward, inline distance from pivot point, that's 5 feet on this machine. Or, I'm sorry, I was wrong, that's to the GPS antenna. 6 feet on this machine. It's left, and how far left is it? It is left 2 feet 6 inches. Now we have a mapping location set up to the front left tire for our map location right here. All right, now we're going to show the setup steps on the Radion. So with the Radion, the little side arrow pointed to the left here gets you to the menu. And then we go to the house. The man with the shovel is your working man, takes you back to your work screen. The wrenches will take you to the setup, so we'll go there. The first thing we're going to do is go into OEM. You need a password, that's 9090. Hit the check mark. And then we're just going to go through this list one at a time. So sensor present, we have a flow sensor and a pressure sensor. Our valve is a bypass valve. It's a two-way bypass valve. Section valve behavior is follow master. So if I turn the master switch off, it turns all of my section valves off as well. That's what follow master does, which is the best way to run it. Regulation details. So here, this is our regulating valve, so, and our regulation setup. So max regulation 145 psi, which is also our pressure transducer. Most of these numbers in here are default, with the exception of a 15 gallon a minute valve, which is what I set this one to with the valve that we have in here. And should be the same, that will be the same valve, regulating valve that is on your manifold that comes in this kit. Don't worry about restrictor plate or default positions. So we're going to go back. Implement parameters. Number of sections, 3. Tank setup, 200 gallon. Minimum tank content, you can set that if you would like to have an alarm. Clear totals is not important right now because we don't have any totals. It's a brand new system. So that was in the OEM menu. So now we're going to go to machine. Filling is if you've got, this is a 200 gallon tank, so let's say we've got 100 gallons in it right now, we would say we have 100. If I wanted to push full tank, then it would say we had 200 because that's what we set it to. Density type's water, so we're not going to mess with that. Implement parameters. So section configuration, section 1 has 4 nozzles. And we would push this button and go to section 2, and it has 3. You just push there to change it if you need to. And section 3 has 4. So we're going to go back. Tip preset setup. So here you just you pick what type of tip you have, and you can cycle through multiple different ones. These have been set up. So we've got an XR804. If you want to change it, you can go through a very long list of TeeJet tips, or you can define your own tip if you choose to use your own tip that is not a TeeJet branded tip. Oop, messed up there. So now we're on a green tip. I need to change that back to a red tip. These settings here are by default. If it is a TeeJet tip, it will automatically load all these in here. If you've done a user-defined tip, you need to set these settings yourself based on your tip selection. And then we have regulating parameters, which the only thing in here we really need to set is our tip spacing. This machine is on 20-inch tip spacing. Your coarse valve calibration and fine valve calibration should stay as they are from a default value until you run it and try and see how it works. If your valve is slow to respond and then oscillates real slow, won't get on target rate, then you can increase this number, your coarse valve calibration, and then increase your fine valve calibration. And then if your response rate is fast, but it's constantly jumping up and down and won't get on target rate, then you should start by reducing your fine valve calibration to get it to settle on a target rate. Your regulation mode is in flow mode, so that means that this controller is always going to operate using the flow meter that's on here. And the flow meter that's on here is the EM flow meter, so it's 0.6 to 100 gallons. So if you get down below 0.6 gallons per minute, it will change itself over automatically to pressure-based application. So we're going to go back. Now we're going to go into calibrations. We don't worry about the implement speed sensor. We're getting speed from our Matrix 908. We're going to go into our flow sensor. Sorry, I double pushed the button. Our calibration number is in pulses per liter. It's 396 for the EM flow meter. It's on the tag of the flow meter. The low flow limit is 0.6 gallons per minute. The high flow limit is 100 gallons per minute. And our pressure sensor. No pressure. System off. Nothing running. No pump running. No booms running. Nothing. Hit calibrate. Calibration's complete. It's 145 psi pressure sensor, so having 145 for the max is sufficient. The reference pressure here is if you wanted to calibrate your max pressure, which doesn't actually have to be the maximum pressure you can get to. You can set this to 65 or 70 and then hit calibrate and fire the sprayer up and run it up to your manual gauge is at 70 psi and go through the calibration process. For your alarms, you can set your own alarms for minimum tank content like we talked about earlier with, set it to a 5 or 10 gallons if you desire. Flow pressure cross check. So what that is for, if you've selected a tip in here that's a red tip, an 04 tip, but you're actually running an 05 or an 06 and the system is in flow mode, it's going to see that, hey, the flow we're at is correct, but our pressure is off, and it's going to be off by more than 10% in this case. So it's going to throw an alarm to tell you that something's wrong. And in your scenario, you would need to go back and select the right tip. So making sure the right tip is selected is very important. And then we're going to go back to the house, and you can go back to the working man. You can go into the file system and you can delete your jobs or job totals or any of that. Your display settings, so in here we can go change your night mode, disabled and all that. You can change your brightness, those type things. Cultural settings, so that's English, US units. Sound, you can turn sounds on or off. About will give you a serial number and a software version. Unlock, so this system will be unlocked for CAN Boom Pilot. So that's when it's connected with a Matrix 908. If your system is not already unlocked here, there will be a sheet of paper that came in the box that gives you the unlock code for this. And of course, since it's already unlocked, it's grayed out, but then you would select it, type the code in, hit the check mark, and it would unlock it. That has to be done before it will talk to the Matrix 908 where we set up the CAN connection earlier in the Matrix 908. So now we can go back to the house, back to the working man. And here you can see our tip selection. You can change your tip selection if you went and changed tips. So we can go to an 05 and you can see this bar change. And what this bar does down here tells you at your ground speed what your expected pressure will be. So that's how this system, if it goes into a pressure-based mode instead of flow mode, it knows to drive to that pressure to get the right flow out. Also, it helps give you a visual. This dot over here will move as you speed up and slow down and will show you what your pressure is at your speed, as well as your pressure being up here at the top. So you got gallons per minute, miles per hour. So see, we can change these to show our PSI. You can change that if you want. And can change to 3 different target rates. So we can change to 0. We can go back to 13.8 gallons per acre, any of that. Your 3 section switches will be in the up on position. If you need to turn a section off, you can pull it down, and then your master switch is over here on the right.